What a Tuesday, picking up the pieces of a season that started off 10-1 and came to a conclusion last night in Tampa Bay in just such awful, embarrassing fashion. And it makes you question everything now. You know, you question what your faith level is in Jalen Hurts, what it is in Howie Roseman, certainly if the coach stays, what it is. And think about, Tone, just a year ago, man, we were in the midst of a run where they had knocked off the Giants, where we were probably awaiting the Giant game, then the San Fran game, then the Super Bowl. And you felt like, man, this team is built for the long haul. You got a young quarterback, you got a young coach, you got young receivers. Yeah, you got some age on the offensive line and the defensive line, but for the most part, you know, you're ready to roll, man. And now everything's in question.
Yeah, and this is a place you really don't want to be. But just because based on everything you said, you know, you've invested a lot on the offensive line, the defensive line. You've invested a lot in the quarterback. You invested a top 10 pick, and you've invested $100 million into the wide receiver position between AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith will be entering his 4th year with the Philadelphia Eagles, which means that they have to decide this offseason that if they're going to pick up his 5th-year option. Of course they will. And then eventually they're going to have to start figuring out what they're going to pay him in the long term and what that money looks like. This team is lost right now. And you would think, based off of the caliber of the organization, the caliber of the city, you know, just the overall essence and what we believe and how we view this team, you would think that they would make better decisions or they would believe that football people should be making football decisions. But this is a very unique situation we have in Philadelphia. And now we're in no man's land. We have no idea what the future holds. We have no idea what they expect from this team going forward. Because things ended so badly, because Nick Sirianni just got here 3 years ago, because of the whole maneuvering with Sean Desai, Matt Patricia, and we have no idea what this is going to look like, in the coming weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't. I mean, we're sitting here right now having no idea how deep this goes. I mean, at the minimum, Tone, if Sirianni survives, I can't see any pathway to either coordinator being back. And I know, like, we had Chris Franklin on yesterday, who I respect immensely, who thinks Brian Johnson comes back.
I don't.
I'm sorry. Chris and I, and you, I think you're on the same page. No. I agree to disagree. I think they're both going to be moved. I think the only coordinator that survives is Michael Clay, which is, again, we can laugh it all off and all that, but it's true. And I think you have to see what I also want to see is totally different philosophies. I don't like this whole notion of one guy schemes it up and then another guy calls the plays.
That's stupid to me. That's stupid.
Like, here's the thing, Nick, if you want to stick around, you're out. You're the CEO. You're not scheming this thing up. The OC is scheming it up. Whoever comes in here is scheming it up and calling the plays. Defensive coordinator, same thing. If this is really happening where Desai is scheming it up, and I don't believe it, but if that's really what's happening, that's done too. Whoever is the defensive coordinator is scheming it up and calling the plays on Sunday.
They have weird checks and balances for the wrong people. You ever notice that?
Yes.
You know what I mean? Why do you have a checks and balances between game planner and play caller? That's so weird to me, right? Just their overall structure and the coaching staff, they got too many cooks in the damn kitchen.
Correct.
Too many people with too much say over certain things. Listen, Nick, you want to keep this job? Okay, all right. We're bringing in somebody to design his offense, and look. It's going to get to a point, and this is where the rubber is going to meet the road for Nick Sirianni, and this is when he's going to have to do some soul searching and find out and figure out what kind of coach does he want to be, and what kind of situation does he does he feel like he needs to thrive in.
Yeah.
When they have their conversations with him, they're gonna say to him, look, they're gonna ask him, what's your plan? And 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna like it. So what's gonna happen is they're gonna say, look, Nick, this is what we want to have. And essentially, if you still want to be here, you're gonna fall in line with that. Mm-hmm. And they're gonna put the onus on him. And this is the moment where he's gonna be at the crossroads. Do I wanna be the captain of my own ship and trust myself and stand my ground about what I believe this team should do, and risk losing my job? Or do I sit back, keep my head down, keep my job as the head coach, but in all reality, I'm just a figurehead. I don't really make any real decisions, and I'm not really in control of this offense or defense. I'm just pretty much here to supervise and babysit the kids in the library. That's what he has to ask himself.
Right.
And what do you think? Which side do you think he falls on?
Well, here's the thing. I'll answer that in 1 second, but this is where the rubber met the road with Doug. I think they wanted to keep Doug. They were going to give Doug another year. My opinion. I think they were going to give Doug another year.
But on their dime.
Their terms.
On their terms.
They were going to say they were saying to him, we know you want whoever it was, Mike Rowe or whatever. We know you want that guy.
Press Taylor,
all those guys, right?
Yeah.
None of that's happening. If you want to stay on board, this is what it's going to. It's going to be somebody else. It's not them. And I think Doug finally said, you know what? Then I'm out, man. I want a Super Bowl. I want to have say over this thing. I was cool with being the good soldier early. I'm out now.
And when you win a Super Bowl, let's be honest, you start swinging your balls around.
Yeah, you got juice.
You know
man.
what I mean?
You
got juice. So you're going to be confident enough in yourself to say, you know what, I can do this anywhere. You're going to be confident in yourself. But Nick Sirianni, he doesn't have that same leverage. I'm curious to know how he sees himself in this situation. Again, I ask you, what side do you think he falls on?
So here, this is what I think he will do if presented with that same thing. Like, let's say Nick wants to keep Brian Johnson. Or Patricia, whoever you want to take in this scenario. I don't care. I think he will acquiesce, step back, and say, you know what? Okay, I'll play ball. You want to get rid of those guys? You want to bring in who you think you're a big fan of this guy who's an offensive coordinator? I'm on board with that. But here's where I think that. So I think he would do it. I do think he would do it. But I think that this is also where they have to be really specific. I can't emphasize this enough. This notion where you draw it up during the week, Nick, is over. You're not doing that anymore. The guy we're hiring is going to do that. Are you good with that? That part I think is going to hurt him, but I still think he'll stay on board with it.
And here's the scary part, right? Whoever you do bring in, right? You have to find out what their long-term plans are.
Yeah.
Because if you bring in some no-name, some young guy with aspirations, then you're back to square one with the head coach that doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
So you have to decide, do I believe Nick Sirianni is the right coach for me? I just need to provide him with a better OC.
Yeah.
Or do you look at it and say, well, at the end of the day, if whatever OC I do get, are they going to be here for a long time? And then even when they're not here, I'm still stuck. I'm still stuck with the goose. I'm still stuck with Nick Sirianni, a guy who doesn't know what he's doing. So it's like, should I just cut ties with him and bring somebody in that just knows what they're doing entirely?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or keep him and hope that I have an OC that sticks around for long enough until I know
that part is tricky. I know.
You got to figure out how you want to play this thing. And again, they haven't hired a person with experience since Lurie's been the owner.
Well, Jeffrey's never done it, and he's been the owner for 30 years now. He took this thing over in '94, right? So that's I'm just counting the coaches. That's Ray, that's Andy, that's Chip, that's Doug, that's Nick. All right, that's five guys, and he's never brought in somebody who had previous NFL head coaching experience.
And look, the mindset. The mindset in theory is not bad, right? You want to stay ahead of the curve. You want to find the next hot guy. The mindset is understood, but you miss. You missed on Chip. You missed on Nick.
Yeah.
Doug, you got it right, but you couldn't keep him in the building because everybody got egos all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, Andy, for obvious reasons, it was a long time coming. He was with the Eagles for over a decade. It was time to cut ties. It is what it is.
Agreed.
Things like that happen. You can't do nothing about that. But you missed on Chip, you missed on Nick, and you got Doug right.
Yeah.
And some people will say, well, look at their win-loss column, right? Nick wins a lot and Chip won a lot and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, look, the win-loss column doesn't mean anything. We've seen coaches with winning records get fired. We've seen all different kinds of circumstances, right? It's funny how Doug, I think he has, out of all those coaches, I think he has the lesser win-loss record, but he has the big one, the ring.
Correct.
So it's like, how much
in my opinion, he dealt with way more injuries. Like Doug dealt with a lot of
injuries on the back end. Those last couple of years.
Wentz lost his mind. Like there was a lot that he had on his plate, man. But you're right. I mean, it's hard to criticize the coaching hires because they've been like quicker fixer-upper guys too. Like Chip came in here after Andy. I think Andy only won 4 games his last year. He had him in the playoffs.
Chip came in and won 10 games right away.
Yeah. And even won the 10 games the second year, but they didn't even get in the playoffs that year. It's crazy. And then the next year, Doug in the second year wins it. And Nick in his second year gets to the Super Bowl. So it's like, it's not necessarily a critique of the coaches they brought in. It's more of just look at the pattern here. Do you really think Belichick, they're going to bring in a guy like that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a pattern. And I'm concerned of how entrenched they are in their process because they believe it works.
Yep.
You know, if an organization is in the Super Bowl 2 times in a 6-year span, you're going to think you're doing something right. But in reality, when you really peel the layers back and really, lift the hood up, you realize, oh, this engine's no good. This transmission's about to go. There's no real sustained success.
Right.
If we're being completely honest, they haven't been able to sustain success. You gave away the division. You gave away the first round bye. Yeah. This team needs some kind of overhaul, some kind of oil change, however you want to slice. They need something to shake.
And you need to figure out, this is what Jeffrey Lurie needs to figure out. Why is it so roller coasterish? Why isn't it? I know it's hard to do in this league and witnessed by the fact that teams very rarely ever repeat.
You know what I think it is? I think whenever someone other than Howie Roseman starts to achieve some level of success, like you said, the peaks, when the success comes, I feel like Howie finds a way to try to humble either the coaches or whoever it is, so it appears that he's still in charge. Like Doug won your Super Bowl, so obviously Doug feels more emboldened. But you got to find a way to keep undercutting him, keep letting him know, where he stands in the organization with those meetings and with the coaching hires and the back door in and all that kind of stuff. Yep. It's like the reason they haven't had sustained success because Howie Roseman doesn't allow it to be sustained. His ego prevents them from being able to sustain success. He's gotten in the way every single time, or he's had a miscalculation or an overcorrection or whatever it may be. He's regularly gotten in the way because he thinks he knows football. When he has 1 year of success or 2 years, he thinks he's a football. You're not a football guy. Mm-hmm. You're spectacular at crunching the numbers. You're spectacular at making sure all these contracts work. That's a real skill, and that's necessary. There are a lot of teams out here that are just making willy-nilly decisions with the money. Yeah. And they're in cap hell or whatever it may be, and they can't really build a team properly. You know how to financially build a team, but let a football guy actually tell you where to shoot. They let them point and you shoot with the money. You know what I mean? So I think that's the real problem. Howie Roseman gets one little bit of success, he thinks he's a football guy.
Yeah,
and he's not.
Whatever it is, that's a pattern that you got to look at if you're the owner, saying, why are there such extremes? Why are we in a Super Bowl 1 year? The next year we start off 10-1 and we fall apart like this. Why did it happen with Doug? Why did it happen with Chip? Why is it happening now? Andy was sustained success. Yes. You didn't win the Super Bowl, but it was sustained success for the
at least part. Doug, after the Super Bowl win, at least
he got back and won a playoff game.
Shoot, man.
I know. We act like that didn't even happen. Yeah, he did. And then the next year he loses Carson on the first series, in 19, whatever. But yeah, it's definitely an issue. So a couple things here. Brandon Graham said that he wants to play his 15th year. That's always been a goal of his. If the Eagles want him back, he would like to be back as an Eagle next year. Now, I look at this a couple different ways. First of all, he actually played well last night. Mm-hmm. He had a sack. He had 5 tackles. He had a quarterback hit. He had 3 tackles for losses. Brandon Graham was one of the few guys on defense who played last night and showed up. But I don't – this is a tough call for the organization. Like, I don't think there's a ton left there for him. But if he says, I'll come back on the league minimum, Do you bring him back for leadership and what he's meant to the organization? I know it's sentimental. I know that.
Can you repeat that? I lost you. I lost you for a second. Can you repeat that?
So in regards to Brandon Graham,
right.
He wants to play next year.
Right.
I don't think he has much left in the tank. I think it's a tough call. But specifically, if he's coming back and he says, I'll play at the league minimum, I just want to be an Eagle for one last year. Do you bring him back for his leadership? Do you bring him back for what he's meant to the organization? I look at it like if I have a depth edge rusher at the league minimum, I could do worse than Brandon Graham. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, you can. My fear is though, and I think that's kind of where the Eagles go wrong a lot of the times when they hold on to guys too long.
Yeah.
But BG seems like his roster. It seems like BG, like you could do a lot worse than him.
Yes.
You know, you would think that that's a roster spot at the end of the day. I would entertain it unless I'm able to find someone better. That's what I would do. I would entertain it.
I would too. Yeah, I mean, again, you're not asking him to be a starter. You're not leaning on him heavily. He's just kind of a guy, right?
You ask him to be a pinch hitter.
Yeah, he's a bench guy for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I feel like they didn't pinch hit him enough this year.
I think so too. I think they tried to like preserve him when it's like, for what?
You clearly need were they not monitoring Josh Sweat snap counts or like?
Yeah.
This is the stuff I'm talking about, man. CJG, he's not coming back here.
There was too much bad blood at the end.
He's not coming back here.
And I get where Jameson's coming from.
Yeah, we need a safety. I appreciate it, Jameson, but he's not coming back here. That ended badly.
Yeah. Agreed. It did not end well, and it's a shame because he's a free agent. I don't know that he cost you a ton because he missed a lot of the year with injury. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like that's going to be happening. Something went awry with them and him, and I don't know that one's fixable. But like we said earlier, let's name some names here. Bradbury can't be back. Morrow can't be back. I don't know. Cunningham, I'd rather move on, but if you don't have better options, okay, I guess. Byard out. You know what's funny, man? With the defensive line, other than Brandon Graham, who we know it's like an age thing.
Mm-hmm.
Sweat's going to be back. Reddick's going to be back. Milton Williams, who actually showed up last night too, is going to be back. The other big question there is, and we know Carter and Davis are going to be back, is Fletcher Cox. Fletcher Cox had a really good year. But is somebody on the outside going to offer him, a bag that's too big for the birds? I think, what did he get, 10 this year? I think that's what it was. I think it was 10.
he got 10 this year.
So if he, let's say somebody offers him either the same or a little bump, which might be crazy at his age, I don't know that he's automatically back. I think he should be back.
Yeah, man, they got some decisions. They got to figure out Jack Driscoll. They got to figure out
some of the depth offensive line. And I mean, the other thing is, let's talk about it.
We got to figure out Opeta.
With Kelsey walking, Juergens goes to center. Are you confident enough in Steen to step in there as a starting right guard? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know if I'm asking, like, are they confident enough?
No, that's a good question. Listen, Jack Driscoll's value, if Kelsey retires, Jack Driscoll's value goes up. Because he's 26 years old. He's gonna be able to go. Cam Juergens, in my humble opinion, Cam Juergens still competing for that right guard spot. He was awful last night.
Yep,
he was awful. Kalijah Kancey manhandled him. Yep. In my opinion, the right guard spot completely up for grabs. Even the center spot. I know Cam Juergens is supposed to be that guy, but I think they need to be on his ass even more.
Mm-hmm.
They got some decisions to make at running back as well. DeAndre Swift, Boston Scott, free agents. Rashad Penny's going to be gone. They got a lot of decisions to make, especially on defense. But I'm speechless. I have no idea what they're going to do or what they should do.
Yeah, and again, this is going to be an unbelievably challenging offseason, especially if there is a head coaching shakeup, especially if there's going to be coordinator shakeups, because you have so many roster issues to deal with too. I mean, you're in pretty decent shape in terms of picks. You have a good amount of picks, but you got to make some hard decisions. These are not fluffy kind of things.
I would imagine you would hire your coach before you even start thinking about free agency, right?
100%.
You gotta get him hired.
You got to know what system. You got to know what guy fits. You got to know who your coordinators are. This guy's playing a 3-4. You know all that. You got to know all of that.
Give me a rough estimate. When do you think we're going to get the first? When do you think the first domino is going to drop on the coaching staff? I'm not saying you got to tell me who, but when do you think the first domino falls? Is it tomorrow? Is it
Thursday?
Is it Thursday? Okay, Thursday. You think the first
Thursday
domino
or
falls
Friday?
Thursday?
I think there's a move made. Yes.
Okay, now
I do, because Tone, not only are there a ton of big name head coaching candidates, there's guys like Dave Canales, who was the offensive coordinator last night for the Bucks, like who was a hot commodity. But let's just say a guy like that doesn't get a head coaching gig, which he very well could. But let's say he doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you can't pluck him, but like, there's a lot of guys out there who maybe work under him or whatever, who you might like. I don't know. I mean, I just think you got to be smart and deliberate about the person that you choose, but you got to make the move quickly on the present day people so you can start making those moves. You know what I mean?
Okay. So you say Thursday, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Thursday. Who do you think is the first domino to fall?
I think it will be announced that they're making that the defense that they're moving on from Patricia and Desai. That'll be the first thing.
Okay.
That's the first thing. That's the most obvious. It's less delicate. The Brian Johnson, if he's gone and Nick stays, is delicate because of the friendship with Jalen. Now, you know where I'm at with this.
I'll be honest with you. I think right now, I don't think Jalen got any friends.
Well, I don't like my thing. I don't know that he does either. But I'm not approaching it as an organization saying, I think you need to get in front of it just with him and tell him, hey, we're doing this. I just want you to know so you're not hearing it from secondhand. We're doing this. And then you're making that move. But you have to at least inform him and let him know. But yeah, I mean, like, dude, I'm giving you $250 million. If I want to make a move, you could still be friends with that guy. He's just not going to be coaching you. I need somebody who's going to lay the hammer down.
Yeah, I need somebody that's going to hold you accountable and it's going to help you see the blitz, because evidently you can't see it, player.
Right, exactly right. So what's your sense here, timeline wise, and what it is? Like, what is it exactly? Who is it? Who's gone? Who's in? Who's out?
Okay, so you said Thursday. I think we see something tomorrow.
Okay,
and I think the first domino to fall. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull the Band-Aid off and just fire Nick Sirianni, and then everything else under that will, just be bygones. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull the Band-Aid off. Why waste time, Nick? Why waste time picking and choosing who we're gonna? Nick, you're out. Yep. That way, you just flush it.
Well, the good part about that, not good for Nick, but the good part about that, if you were them, that implies that basically everybody's out. I mean, you can always retain coaches, obviously, but that would mean all bets are off for everybody if the coach is fired. And then we can start going about our build here.
Yeah, so I think tomorrow we hear something, and I think we're going to I think we're going to find out tomorrow.
Okay.
It's funny, Julian, that you asked that, because I was thinking about that. Bieniemy. I think he's looking for a head coaching job. I think this year was his first. I'm trying to think. No, yeah, I think Bieniemy's looking for a head coaching job. If I'm being honest, do I see him in Philly? His football mind is unmatched. I would love to find out what he can do with a guy like Jalen Hurts. I would love it.
He's a no BS guy,
and he's a no BS guy, and I think they need that. If I'm being quite honest with you, I think they need someone who it's so funny when you really think back to Nick Sirianni's introduction to us. The writing should have been on the wall that this wasn't going to last long, because of just how he carried himself, especially in that first year with the goofy shirts and trying so hard to be, and maybe he was being himself, right? But like just being he was the quintessential try hard. It just seemed like he was always rambling, always trying to do something quirky so you can ingratiate yourself with him. And we all took the bait. We all looked at him, man. He's a fun guy. He's aligning himself with the players. He's a players.
He's being true to himself.
Being true to himself. We all flip these things into being positives. In reality, if I'm being honest with myself, I like my coach. I like my leaders being no nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't like my leaders speaking more than they should. I like stoic leaders.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nick Sirianni was nothing like that at all. I prefer militant figures as my leaders, So Nick Sirianni was just.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing.
He was a kid that got fat in a candy store.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing I'm going to compare him to another Philadelphia, and not Tortorella. I'm not going there to that extreme because Tortorella is very, very old.
But that's my kind of guy.
No, I know. Trust me, he's a no BS guy. But I think Nick Nurse is very much like that. If you ever listen to a Nick Nurse post-game press conference, like he's hey man, like we didn't do this well enough. Specifically, we didn't rebound. What I was thinking here was we were gonna with Nick, it's just mumbo jumbo crap. I got to do a better
job.
Just filler. Nick is very accountable for himself for what happened in the game, and he's willing to explain. Hey, my thinking here with playing, Tobias at the 3 is this. Like, and then you come away like, all right, I get it. I may not always agree with everything, but I get at least the guy's trying to give me.
It didn't work, but okay, you explained that.
Yeah.
And I see what you were trying to do. It didn't work, but all right, let's try better next time.
With Nick, I'm like, huh?
Nick he rambles, Rob. He rambles and just talks and talks and talks and just. I think I can't remember. I saw this tweet where, somebody did like a side by side of like 2 head coaches being asked the same question, and they were paralleling how each coach answered it.
Yeah.
Or they were drawing a parallel between 2 coaches, and one of the coaches was Nick Sirianni, and the other coach was somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they were very short in their words. And they asked them, let's just say I ask you, what was your thoughts on the receivers, today?
Yeah.
Oh, I think we have a lot to work on still, but I trust those guys to get back in the lab, and I trust us to to get things back on track. Boom.
Yeah.
Right. You ask Nick Sirianni, hey Nick, what do you think went wrong with the receivers? Well, the receivers, they we fundamentals, right? Fundamentals, and we're constantly telling guys to compete, and we trust those guys to win because those guys.
By the end, you're like,
it's like,
I'm exhausted.
All right, got it. No answer. Got it. You have no idea what went wrong. Understood. Again, we should have saw the writing on the wall from the beginning. We should have. He wasn't ready for this role.
Yeah, I agree.
We should have, and I took the bait, and I'm ready to wear that. I caped for Nick a lot. You know what I'm saying?
No, I did too, Tone. And here's what we didn't take into account, and partly how could we have? I don't think we knew how much Steichen and Gannon were covering up for horrendous up top, sort of leadership mindset. I mean it, man. Like we joke about the Gannon thing and all that. And I was a Gannon guy, but Gannon, ask yourself this, from what you've seen from Desai and Patricia, and I think Desai got kind of a raw deal here. Okay. But what you saw from both of those guys compared to what you saw from Gannon, it's not even close. And I know Gannon had more talent on that side of the ball, but he's a whole different, it's night and day. And obviously with Steichen and these guys and Brian and Nick, I think Steichen just covered up a lot of warts, man. I think he put a lot of makeup on.
Right, it was funny. Prior to the season even starting, right? The moment last season ended the way it ended, I said on multiple platforms, I said this 2023-2024 campaign is going to tell us a lot about Nick Sirianni. I said it multiple times in the offseason to various people. I said this upcoming season is going to tell us everything we need to know about Nick Sirianni. Everything.
Yeah.
He's losing to OC. He's losing to DC. He made it to a Super Bowl, lost within 3 points. He made a handful of decisions that I didn't agree with, but okay. All right. We're going to find out a lot about this man as a head coach in this upcoming season. We're going to find out exactly if he has what it takes to pivot, if he can continue to reinvent, exercise some level of ingenuity and creativity. What can he do to take Jalen Hurts to the next level? What can he do to supplement the losses of Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon? We were going to find out a lot about him, and we found out a lot about him rather quickly. Yeah. And I know everything I need. Now I know everything I need to know about him.
Yeah, no, I think there's been a lot of exposure, I guess would be the word that I would use. There's been exposure to what this thing is. All right, we're doing. I need a break, don't I?
No, listen, we've kind of been vomiting today
right now. I think we need a break. Yeah,
because you know what? I'm looking at. I use the clock, right?
I know I'm messed up if we just started the segment or we're going long on this.
Listen, the first segment,
I'm like a machine with the clock in my head.
Right. The first segment lasted 42 minutes, I think, 40 minutes, something like that. And then the second segment was about 18.
Like, be honest, so you never have to tell me when to break. I'm lost right now. I'm so engulfed in this.
Hey, listen, we're just rolling with it. We'll be going into segment. This is
all right.
This is segment 3.
I got you.
So we're going into segment 4 now.
Let me sneak one in here. We'll come back and we keep it going here. And again, like I said, big picture stuff here when we get back. More, front office and what you do going forward. All right, Tony Shields, Rob Ellis, we're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let's talk about Pro Action Restoration. We've gotten some goofy weather lately, right? Rain, wind, some snow last night in the Philadelphia area. Sometimes that can cause some damage. You can get some leaks. You can have some foundational issues. You could have mold, you could have smoke, you could have fire, you could have water issues. If you have any of those things, Pro Action Restoration is the place to reach out to. They are on call 24 hours, 7 days a week to assist. My story. Had a lot of issues here with some plumbing, which caused damage to my basement and my basement bathroom. And Pro Action came here. They completely redid all the drywall, all the ceiling, the painting, as well as the carpet work. They just an awesome job for me, and they will for you as well. They're licensed, bonded, and fully insured, and they've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company also. So, again, water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. Give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or online at proactionrestoration.com. That's Pro Action